Hello everyone. Today we will discuss about the human reproduction part 3, where we will be studying in detail about the structure of the penis, the body of the penis, what are the tissues which are present in the penis, and also we will study about the function of the Leydig cells. So in the last class we discussed about the seminiferous tubules, their structure, what is the function of the Sertoli cells, what is the function of the seminiferous tubules. So just a recap, so seminiferous tubules are what? These are the coiled structures. These are present in the testicular lobules. The number of seminiferous tubules, there are 1, 2, 3 in each testicular lobule. What is the function of the seminiferous tubules? They are involved in the production of the gametes. Yes, the seminiferous tubules are lined by the spermatogonial cells which undergo spermatogenesis. When they undergo spermatogenesis, they produce the spermatozoa. Now these spermatozoa are carried from the testis into the structure called as the penis, where the ejaculatory duct opens into. So ejaculatory duct opens into the penis. The penis is the external genitalia. It's a copulatory organ. Copulatory organ means which is involved in the sexual intercourse with the females. And what does the penis do? They release the sperms out, the process called as insemination, into the female's reproductive part or female's reproductive tract. So let us study some details about the structure of the penis. Now first thing, the urethra. So urethra continues. You know that the urethra is the organ which transfers the sperms as well as the urine to the penis. So urethra opens into a tubular region or a tubular structure called as penis. So urethra opens into a tubular structure or a tubular region called as the penis. Now penis, as we studied, is an external genitalia. So penis is an external genitalia. It's a copulatory organ. Now penis is made up of a specialized tissue, a specialized erectile tissue. Erectile tissue means this particular tissue becomes hardened when the blood supply increases. So when the blood supply increases the external genitalia into the penis, then what happens? This penis shows an hardening. So that is called as what? Erection. And this happens when there is a sexual arousement. So when during a sexual arousal, the penis becomes hard. The hardening of the penis is because of the specialized tissue called as erectile tissue. Now, so there are 3 erectile tissues. So 3 longitudinal. So longitudinally arranged. So longitudinally arranged erectile masses, that is 2 right and left, corpus cavernosa and corpus spongiosum. So you can see in the diagram. So this is the dorsal, this is the transverse section. So the transverse section of the penis we are studying about here. This is the dorsal here and this is the ventral region. So you can see the right and left. So these are the 2 erectile tissues, cylindrical masses, longitudinally arranged 2 erectile masses, that is corpus cavernosum. So corpus cavernosa, the left and the right, corpus cavernosa, and a median, corpus spongiosum. So these 3 cylindrical, longitudinally arranged erectile masses form the main body of the penis. So in the body of the penis, so body of the penis, so what you see in the body of the penis? The body of the penis, you see the right and left corpus cavernosa and median corpus spongiosum. Now this penis, as we said, it's a cylindrical longitudinal mass. Now there is a bulging when the penis, the terminal part. So the terminal part of the penis, becomes bulged. So the terminal part it's a bulging region. The bulging region is called as the glans penis. It's called as a glans penis. So glans penis, what it is? It's a bulged region. The terminal part of the penis becomes bulged to form what? A glans penis. Now this glans penis is covered by skin. The glans penis is covered by the skin, and this skin is called as prepuce. The skin is called as a prepuce, or is called as a foreskin. Foreskin. So the terminal part of the penis has a bulging region, and that bulged region is called as what? The glans penis, and this glans penis is covered by the skin called as prepuce, or is called as a foreskin. Now surgically the prepuce is removed. So surgically the prepuce is removed, and that is called as circumcision. So it's called as a circumcision. So circumcision means what? The removal of the foreskin. So surgically the foreskin is removed, and that condition is called as what? That is called as a circumcision. So this prepuce, so the prepuce or the foreskin is attached, forming a ring. And that ring is called as frenulum prepuce. So means you require some foreskin to be attached to a region. So there is an elastic cord. So there is a ring-shaped cord. The ring-shaped cord called as what? The frenulum. So frenulum prepuce. So it is called as a frenulum prepuce. So frenulum prepuce is what? It is the region where the foreskin is attached to the penis. So it's an elastic cord present at the circumference of the glans penis where the foreskin is attached, and that region is called as a frenulum prepuce. Now, so as you studied, now if you see the structure of the penis, so here you can clearly see that this is the dorsal section, this is the ventral region, this is the dorsal region, this is the TS of the penis. So the corpus cavernosa, so these are the two regions, corpus cavernosa, left and right, and a median corpus spongiosum is again, it is covered by a white fibrous connective tissue called as tunica albuginea. So tunica albuginea is covering the layer of the corpus cavernosum and corpus spongiosum. And what makes the penis much more having a large supply of blood? So there are several arteries and veins. So you can see there is a superficial dorsal vein, a dorsal nerve, because there is a sensing. So you require an autonomous nervous system to control the erection of the penis. So hardening of the penis is controlled by the autonomous nervous system. So there is a supply of nerves in the penis. And the urethra. So urethra passes through which part of the erectile tissue? It is the tunica spongiosum. So tunica spongiosum is the region which covers the entire urethra. So urethral opening or urethral orifice is covered, or it is situated where? In the corpus spongiosum. So corpus spongiosum, in the middle you will see the urethra, and both the corpus cavernosum and corpus spongiosum are covered by tunica albuginea. So there are two superficial dorsal vein, dorsal nerve, deep arteries present inside both the corpus cavernosa, and you have corpus spongiosum which covers the urethra, and this is the skin. You can see this is the skin. This is the skin which covers the entire penis. So you see the transverse section of the penis. You can see the right and left corpus cavernosa and median corpus spongiosum. All the three are covered by white fibrous connective tissue, that is tunica albuginea, and there is a large supply of veins and arteries and nerves. So you can see the dorsal artery, deep artery present in the corpus cavernosa, dorsal nerve, and superficial dorsal veins. They are present in the penis. Now, so what is erection? So erection is the condition where you see the hardening of the penis. Hardening of the penis. So there is a hardening of the penis and enlargement of the penis. enlargement of the penis. And when does it happen? The erection occurs due to sexual arousal. Sexual arousal. So sexual arousal causes what? The erection. And during a sexual arousal, what happens which causes the erection? The autonomous nervous system. So just a minute. The autonomous nervous system. So the autonomous nervous system controls what? Controls the erection. Autonomous nervous system controls the erection. Controls erection. What happens in this? During this condition, the autonomous nervous system causes what? The blood vessel dilation. So arteries, they get dilated, and due to which there is a increase in the flow of blood. Increase in the flow of blood. So due to the increase in the flow of blood, as I said, it is an erectile tissue which becomes hardened when the blood is supplied to the tissue. So when the blood flows in the high rate and high amount in this condition, what happens? The blood vessel, due to the pumping of the blood into the corpus cavernosa and corpus spongiosum, the tissues becomes hardened and enlarged, and that causes what? The erection. That causes the erection. Are you clear? Now, the next, moving on to, moving on to the Leydig cells. Now these Leydig cells, they are present in the intertubular space of the seminiferous tubules. So let us consider, this is a TS of one seminiferous tubule, this is TS of another seminiferous tubule, and between these two seminiferous tubules there are a mass of cells, and these mass of cells are called as the Leydig cells. So this is a structure of a transverse section of the seminiferous tubule, and this is another seminiferous tubule. And this is the space between the two seminiferous tubules. And between the space of the two tubules, there are a mass cells called as a Leydig cells. And these Leydig cells, they synthesize and secrete testicular hormones. The Leydig cells synthesize and secrete the hormones. The testicular hormones are called as what? The androgen. So the testosterone is released by the Leydig cells, and these testosterone or these androgens are released in the intertubular space, because where are the Leydig cells present? They are present in between the two tubules. So they are present in the intertubular spaces. So Leydig cells, they secrete the testicular hormones in the space. Now these need to be diffused into the seminiferous tubules, and this is helped by the androgen binding proteins. So androgen binding proteins, they help in the diffusion of the testicular hormone or the androgen into the seminiferous tubules to promote spermatogenesis. So this is the thing we had to study in the structure of the seminiferous tubules that was left out, and I'm continuing this. This is the Leydig cells. Where are they? They are present in the intertubular spaces of the seminiferous tubules. And what do? They release testicular hormones, that is androgens. They synthesize and secrete androgen, and they are releasing or secreting these androgens in the spaces, where in the intertubular space. Now from the intertubular space, the hormones need to be transported or diffused into the seminiferous tubules, and it is carried by the special proteins called as androgen binding proteins, and these androgen binding proteins help in the diffusion of these testicular hormones into the seminiferous tubules, where they promote or they help in the spermatogenesis. So we know that the spermatogenesis is carried in the seminiferous tubules. So testosterone need to be, or androgen need to be transported into the seminiferous tubules. So the androgen binding proteins, they transport this testicular hormones into the seminiferous tubules. And apart from that, with the Leydig cells, in the intertubular cells, we also have some immunologically competent cells. The Leydig cells and immunologically competent cells are present in the intertubular space. So Leydig cells and immunological competent cells, they are present where? In the intertubular space of the seminiferous tubules. What do? Leydig cells help in releasing and synthesizing and secreting of androgen, which is released in the spaces and are diffused into the seminiferous tubules by the help of androgen binding proteins. Right? Then in the spaces you also have what? Immunologically competent cells, in order to reduce or the effect or to protect the sperms which are released in the seminiferous tubules. So immunologically competent cells are present in the spaces, intertubular spaces. So here some extra points you just need to remember, right? So extra point here, let us say the semen. So semen, as we studied, the semen consists of the sperms plus the accessory reproductive gland fluid. So accessory reproductive gland fluid and sperms together is called as the semen. And we also studied how much amount of contribution does the seminal vesicle does? 60 to 70%. How much contribution the prostate gland does? 30 to 40%. So the accessory reproductive gland fluids in the semen, total semen concentration, 60% to 70% is produced by the seminal vesicle, 30 to 40% is produced by the prostate gland. So what is the volume of the semen? 3 to 4 ml. So during the ejaculation, that is during the removal of the sperms during the coitus, right? The sperm, that is the semen, consists of volume of 3 to 4 ml. What is the pH of the semen? The pH of the semen is 7.3. Then what is the normal sperm count? Normal sperm count is 20 to 120 million per ml. So total normal sperm count is 20 to 120 million per ml. If the sperm count is less, called as oligospermia, it is less than, so less than 20 million per ml is called as oligospermia. Right? Then now during the coitus, where there is 3 to 4 ml of the semen, so per ml if you have 20 million, so that makes 3 to 4 ml, that is 120 million, that is around, it takes up to 200 to 300 million sperms. So during the coitus, so just need to remember this number, 200 to 300 millions of sperms are released during the coitus, out of which 60% should be having properly shaped and properly developed. So 60% of the 200 to 300 million sperms should be properly developed with proper shape and size. The 40% at least of them should show vigorous motility. So once again, each coitus, during the coitus, the males release 200 to 300 million sperms. Out of this 200 to 300 millions of sperms, 60%, at least 60% should be properly developed with proper shape and size. And out of the 60%, at least 40% of them should be showing what? Vigorous motility. So you just need to remember some part, 60% should be having proper size and shape, and 40% should be showing out of them vigorous motility. How many millions of sperms are produced in one coitus? 200 to 300 million sperms are produced. Per ml, 20 to 120 million approximately 20 to 120 million. And what is the pH of the semen? 7.3. What is semen? It is the sperms plus the fluid, the seminal fluid, the prostatic fluid together forms what? The semen. Then next there is one more word called as orchiopexy. Orchiopexy is nothing but, now we studied cryptorchidism. Cryptorchidism means what? The testes are not descendant out after the birth. Then that condition is called as a cryptorchidism. Now this cryptorchidism can be overcome by surgically, and that surgically descending the testis from the abdominal cavity is called as a orchiopexy. So orchiopexy is surgical descending of the testis. So surgically descending the testis in the childhood is called as what? The orchiopexy. Now, and we studied that erection. So erection is controlled by parasympathetic. So we studied that is controlled by the ANS. So here we see that the erection is controlled by the parasympathetic system, and ejaculation, that is release of those sperms, ejaculation, that is the during the coitus, when the male releases out the semen out, the process is called as ejaculation, removing out, and it is controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. So erection is controlled by the parasympathetic system and ejaculation is controlled by the sympathetic system. So you must be clear about today's topic. Thank you.